Hello and welcome to this 4th of July week episode of Kennedy Saves the World. It's Monday. It's Jimmy Failla Day. Jim, we've made it. I'm wearing my 4th of July shirt that my niece Bella got me.
Yeah, you are.
Man, I love freedom. MILF. That's what it means. Man, I love freedom.
And I'm wearing an extra jacket from a bowling alley in Kingpin. If you go back and rewind Bigger and McCracken walking in, you probably see something like this.
Do you think that, so I had a wonderful conversation with Rosanna Scotto that's going to air a little later this week.
Yeah, you are.
From our time at Langan's that you were a part of. It was magical. And she told a really funny story about her family would light fireworks in trash cans.
Is that true?
And that's a new level of pyromania that I never even contemplated. It sounds incredible because it might do damage. It would be loud.
If it's fire...
And it's contained?
Hold on. If it's firecrackers, I've seen this done.
Okay.
And that's what it is, because it takes the sound and it multiplies the sound. I've seen firecrackers, but if she's doing it with like M80s and stuff, she's just a terrorist.
Well, no, because then you're blowing up the trash. Like then you're actually creating.
So I'm fascinated by this, and I cannot confirm the validity of how that works. Okay, but I can tell you this about Rosanna Scotto. Yeah. This is real. I filmed something with her once on her show, the great Rosanna Scotto, where she did a segment that was like sponsored by the new Z06 Corvette. And the hook was, since I was a cab driver, the show was going to end with me pulling away from the curb with her in the car narrating, you know, talking to the crowd. So I have to drive, Scotto's riding shotgun. The minute we get out of sight of the actual cameras, she goes, now go around the block and step on this thing. And I was like, Rosanna Scotto, I love you.
So she's like, Judge Janine. Judge Janine actually commandeered
Stole my cab.
Your cab.
Stole my cab.
And this is like, it's a vintage cab that's very expensive.
It's a checker cab. Yeah. It doesn't have power steering, does not have brakes. It's the closest you'll come to being a Flintstone is driving in that cab. Like if you ride in the back, I have to call you Wilma for the whole, it's weird.
Well, you called me a Brontosaurus burger, which I thought was a little bit of an outrage.
I called you all kinds of things, to be clear. To be clear. But I love your shirt.
Thank you.
As I love America. And
America!
This is our week.
Yeah.
No,
we're going to
Christmas.
Hawaii here in a few weeks or a few days, weeks. I don't know. It feels like weeks.
I know.
It's like whenever you're about to go on vacation, you're just, your mind is checked out. But for some reason, your to-do list checks in and expands.
Everything. It's like, you know how they say if you're trying to score in the NFL, the last yard is the toughest one to get. You like tackle them on. That's how vacation works in modern life. It's that last yard is when they make the goal line stand. And that's where we both find ourselves.
You think about it for months.
Oh, I know. I don't know. Everything comes up last minute.
Yeah.
And it's part of the process. But you know what, man? Maybe it'll make us enjoy it that much more.
I think it will, Jim. I think I'm going to be having a blue Hawaiian in one hand and a Mai Tai in the other.
I don't drink a lot.
And that's going to be in church.
I don't drink a lot when I fly with Jenny and Langan. This is the year. This is the year. We always text each other on planes like, hey, if you're lonely, knock on the cockpit door. I always find that works, you know? This might be the year I follow through on some of our jokey advice. Hey, what's going on in there?
I have a couple, I don't know if you have this, but I have a couple of rituals when I get on planes. One is I have to touch the outside of the plane.
Oh, I do, like the good luck, play like a champion today.
I gotta touch the outside of the plane, exactly. Lou Holtz, gotta touch that. And then I have to step in with my right foot. And inevitably, I look to my left. If the cockpit door is open, I go in there every single flight and say, good luck, we're all counting on you. And it's like, if a pilot is under 40, they just go very politely, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, we'll have a great flight.
But if
they're over
age,
40 and they get the airplane reference, they dissolve into a puddle of laughter, and that's how I know we're going to be okay.
Because you got a real guy up there, real airman, real pilot.
That's right. Real balls. Hey, it's Kennedy. You've been asking for longer episodes of Kennedy Saves the World, and baby, now you're gonna get it, because we recorded our live 4th of July special at Langan's in New York City, featuring special guests, Fox 5 New York's Rosanna Scotto, Dr. Drew Pinsky, Emily Compagno, and Jimmy Failla. The full episode will be available Wednesday, July 2nd. Listen and follow at foxnewspodcast.com.
So listen, that's funny. I do the touch the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I always step on with my right foot.
Yeah.
Masturbation, obviously. Okay. I kidding. But nice play fake by Jimmy. But no, I always say hello. I'm always pleasant. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you. Here we go. That whole thing. I am good for morale on a plane.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a good story really quickly. I was flying out to Reno. The gentleman next to me grew up with Trace Gallagher.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so far so good, right? But he didn't divulge this information until I had ascertained there was no one in my section that knew who I was, and proceeded to drink like I was pledging a fraternity. So at the 3-hour mark of this flight...
Do you take a show of hands? Are there
No,
paper ballots? How do you figure it out?
If you're sitting in the front of the plane, people will recognize you and take selfies as they're boarding the plane. And by the time the plane is fully boarded and the cocktail is closed, if there's no one else to come on and I know my work here is done, that's when I'll drink. Because I don't want people to meet me drunk. I don't want them to have an interaction with me that's unpleasant, because they might be excited to meet us because they watch us on TV. So I'm actually very mindful of the user experience. Mm-hmm. That being said, okay, everyone was by. I met 3 people on the plane. The flight was midair, and I'm going because I have nowhere to be. I have 48 hours to my name, and I'm really putting them away. And I know Jenny's picking me up at the airport, and I'm I can't drink when I go home because I have somewhere to go. I'm this is the vacation. Yeah. The flight is the vacation.
You're a sponge that has been placed in vodka, and you're soaking it all up.
I'm banging them down.
Yeah.
This guy goes,
what are you drinking? Bloody Marys? What is it?
I always start if it's a Bloody Mary on a morning flight.
Okay.
But in this one, I was...
No.
I go, can I get a Jack and Coke minus the Coke? They always laugh and they'll bring it to you. So I'm just drinking whiskey, right?
Yeah.
And I legitimately probably 4 or 5 whiskeys in at this point. I haven't eaten. I'm wildly sleep deprived when I go on the road. And the guy goes, I heard you talking earlier. Where did you say you work? What do you do for a living? I go, it's funny. These are Fox News fans. I host a show on Fox News. He's like, oh my God, I started with Trace Gallagher in Chicago. I know him. And
wow.
I turned to him with actual no motor skills, like Sloth in the Goonies. Hey, you guys. That whole thing. And now this gentleman who I loved, but it was not going to begin and end there. Yeah. And I was now making a presentation in the boardroom.
How many hundreds did you reach into your wallet and give him? Here's $300.
So we're in the bathroom together.
Yeah.
And, the Mile Low Club. The old Mile Low Club. It doesn't count if you do it alone. Happy birthday, America.
Well, with that, we can all fly and reach our destinations. Little less innocent than we were a few minutes ago.
You didn't realize the 4th of July and Palm Sunday were so close together, but here we are.
Oh, God.
Boom!
And here we go. Have a beautiful 4th of July.
USA.
Of course, we will see you next week. We'll see you later this week at Langan. So tune in to Kennedy Saves the World for that. This has been Kennedy Saves the World, along with Jimmy Failla. I'm Kennedy. Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.